My dad is really good at mechanical stuff, knowledge and stuff, and he also towed me back from Owine today because I accidentally put gas in my diesel truck because I've never had a diesel truck before. I had one for like a couple months one time, but pretty much my whole life I've driven gas vehicles. So I'm in the habit of putting the gas nozzle in, and that's what I did while I was observing at the gas station. I'm always observing there because of PTSD and people staging lies, so I'm always doing that. But he's good because when I had to empty all the fuel out of my tank, which took most of the day to empty the fuel out of the tank and go get diesel to put back in it, and I used the Chrysler 300 to do that, noting that because it's good for that car to be driven every few weeks. My parents refused it as a gift because it's not practical for them. I thought it was the perfect practical vehicle, plus my dad would get a thrill out of the motor in it, but it didn't work out. Like about 3 different things I've tried to get them since I got a little bit of money from my uncle, since I've never been able to buy them anything. I thought this is my chance to do it, and I've tried, and some of the things worked out, some of them didn't. So the car didn't, so I'm trying to sell it, but it's good for it to be driven every few weeks, and it runs good and everything. It needs sway bar links on the sides, and that's not something I remember it needs to be done, but I noted it in the sales ad. But anyway, what were the stage lies today? Indications that I saw my son. No, I do not know where my son is for the last 10 years. No idea where he's at. No idea what he's been doing the entire time. No idea. There's been all kinds of indications about it. No idea. Oh, and by the way, it didn't do any damage to my diesel truck to put gas in it. It actually seems to be running better, so maybe it cleaned the carbon out of it. It seems to be running smoother since I accidentally had some gas in it. But again, I drained everything out of the tank. I mean, it was down to the bottom, and luckily I had something that worked. Dad had something that worked here, and I used it, and it took a while, but it got it all the way to the bottom of the tank. So everything's out of the tank, and so it's running good. I actually have it running right now at my parents', and I backed the U-Haul into the dad's shed here, the U-Haul trailer. I put the stuff from the truck bed, which is the stuff from my van, which I transferred to the truck bed, and I didn't have anywhere to put it because I went up to Minnesota to get something, so I rented a U-Haul because it's important stuff, some of the valuable stones, meteorites, and my other stuff I don't want stolen, including like a fifth wheel hitch I bought on Craigslist, and I already noted all that, but they're indicating about that again. I went to Tripola, bought it cash, just like I went to Minnesota yesterday and bought a truck camper cash, but I didn't pick it up. It took me all day to get there. It was a 5-hour trip there and 5 hours back. But I didn't want to, after I inspected everything and the wind was blowing hard from the south, it would have been a crosswind on the truck camper. It would have been my first time driving a truck camper with, one of those big high things on there. And I looked at my truck bed, and it needed some bolstering, and there were so many ands that I just didn't want to. There was no sense in me risking putting that on my truck yesterday. So the intent was to put it on the truck and tow the U-Haul back with it, which I could have done because the guy had an extension for it. I didn't realize it was such a big one. But we did make a deal, and I paid him $650 cash for it. So at some point I'll pick it up. But all these deals I make on Craigslist are mostly cash deals because they don't know who I am. They don't know who anybody is on Craigslist responding. So explaining that. I've been at my parents' most of the day. I didn't meet up with anybody. And again, there are frauds pretending to be my son. There was a suspicious red four-door car. I don't think, maybe it was a four-door. There's a suspicious car in the neighborhood, a white guy in it and a black guy in it. They were just acting suspicious about the time I left to go get diesel fuel with the Chrysler 300. And again, I only drove the Chrysler 300 because it's good to drive it every few weeks. If anyone else has driven it, it's criminals. But it doesn't look like anybody's driven it. But some of the controls have been messed with, and it looks like there's 2 dings in it that weren't in there before. So if anybody's driven it, they don't have permission to. And I didn't give my son anything. I haven't seen my son, and I don't know what he's been doing for 10 years. I have no idea where he is for 10 years. So no, I didn't give my son anything. Nobody gave me any of the properties that, once again, nobody gave me any of the properties. I paid for those myself. All 8 properties, they're all mine. I did not give any of them away. I didn't give a camper away. These campers are for job sites, for getting work done on the properties that I bought. There is no one attached to me in any way other than my parents. And like I said, my dad helped me. He towed me back from Owine today after I accidentally put gas in it. It's not like, I mean, it's a stupid, moronic thing, and I was embarrassed that I did it, but even people that are avid diesel people do this, accidentally put gas in their tank sometimes. Not all of them, probably, but there are some guys that are very avid diesel people that you see on YouTube that admit that they accidentally put gas in their tank. And I've never had a diesel vehicle other than for like a couple months. One time I had a IDI 7.3 diesel 1-ton dually Ford for a few months, and it just wasn't practical for me to have it then. This one is practical for me, and this is what I need now. And it's another thing my dad and I can talk about. I just didn't realize that that was the connection I needed, was that buying equipment and buying stuff with motors and stuff is, and then now I can relate to him on some level. He just couldn't relate to me on any level. So that's kind of helped out our relationship now, and kind of wish I would have understood that a long time ago, that there was just nothing that I was saying that we had in common, like my theories, inventions, blogs, and poems. He's never done any of those things, so he has no reference to it. So it's just sometimes I'm a little clueless that way socially. I just don't understand the social cues on certain things, and that's just a weakness of mine, and a lot of people know it and exploit it because I'm not very good at picking up on things sometimes. I need a partner maybe that's a little better at that, or not, and we'll just live in our clueless world socially or whatever. Or I can find a woman that's really adept at that, and then she'll be, that part of us, and that sometimes that's the way it works. When you find a partner, you don't know how it's going to work out, but I would like someone that's more organized than me, like papers and stuff and the home. It takes me a lot longer than most, people that are organized at cleaning and organizing papers. And I'm not saying I wouldn't help out cleaning and I wouldn't try to keep things cleaner. It's just when you have no ability to do it and it just gets out of control, you just kind of give up and just let it go, because it's just so confusing to me to try and keep stuff in order. I can't explain it to someone that's organized. They just can't do it. But I do admire females that are organized, and I do, I think men and women are equals going into a relationship, and sometimes you each bring something different to it. It could be opposite, it could be the opposite that way, but Me, I'm the disorganized. I could be a provider. I could, do a lot of innovative things. I could, go out and make money, but I'm terrible at organization. So anyway, I'm going to keep this short. x.com/WADES2ND is me. Not use Facebook in 3 years. No date romance relationship in 9 years. No sexual contact 6+ years. No friendships since 2016. Never been with a male transgender child. Never will be. Not been on a plane or jet since 2011. 10.7-inch hand, circumcised 1971 when I was born. 11/4/71 in Iowa. Always lived in Iowa. Nowhere else. I do not ever stream or have a podcast. I talk aloud in my vehicles, and I do not know how people are hearing that since 2013, 2014. I just know that they are, so I'll say a lot of things to get the truth out when I know I'm being heard and someone is, has a listening device in my vehicle since 2013 and 2014. But it is nobody that has any connection to me. I don't work for anybody. I've never represented anyone else. Nobody has ever represented me. No one works for me. Those are all liars. Nobody helps me out in that way. Nobody helps me organize. There's a guy that, took my credit card and stuff at U-Haul the other day. He works there. There was indications about, there's a skinny, taller, blonde guy at U-Haul on Friday, and he's just some guy that works at U-Haul, for as far as I know. So, that's it. U-Haul in West Union. Anyway, I'm going to sign off, get this loaded as quickly as I can, and my parents again, and I'm going to be working in my dad's shed on my truck a little bit. I didn't want to back it in here. I'm online right now posting, and anyway, that's all. Wade Allen Heineman, 52 years old, male, heterosexual, always and forever. Penis is 8 to 9 inches when it's erect, 3 to 6 when it's not. And that means it varies between 3 and 6 inches when it's not erect. I'm not concerned about that. Everybody else is. I'm more concerned about the 8 to 9 inches when it's erect. It's still that way. 2 male testicles that I was born with, still have them. Never had a female part. Never dressed as a female. Never wanted to be female. Never had any changes that way.